Evening, guys. How are you doing today? Of course, Samuel Silva here, and we are hosting political interview with my good friend Scholar Evans. Scholar Evans, once again, welcome to Mainplug TV.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Pleasure to see you also. Uh, I think this is now we are progressing. Of course, today I want us to look maybe to have a look at a different aspect away from current affairs. So today I want us to look at Africans as enemies of our own political democracy. So before maybe you say something on that, introduce yourself to our viewers.
Oh, I'm called Scholar Evans. I'm a reader and a thinker. And I like discussing politics and things that affect human beings.
Of course, that is why I feel like you're the best person, of course, to discuss these things with you. So, Evans, away from current affairs, we are looking at Africans as enemies of our own political democracy. As at now, you know, in the current state of our African democracies in African countries, I think we are just copy pasting the constitutions of our colonies, our colonizers. Do you think that is the best way of operating within the ideologies that were put there by our colonizers?
No, that is wrong. Wrong way of operating any country, and many African countries are using it. So that is tragic. Someone asked me, what is democracy in your mother tongue? There is no such a word. It was brought to us. You get that? There is no democracy in Loya or in Luo or in any other African language. There is no term democracy. They coined for us the term. They brought to us that term, and we are using it. And if you look at constitution in general, they impose to us things that they thought were good for us. But who begs the question, what do we want? Like, I think people should be given the sovereignty to choose among themselves for their own, depending with their own environment, because environment affects our social life. So what is happening in Kenya might be different from what is happening in South Africa or Nigeria. And there is high chances it's going to be far much different from something happening in Europe. So we need to have our own things that fits, our own systems that fits in our own country. And the problem.
And do you feel like we are at the this is the best time? Maybe we have to form our own maybe our own ideologies, our own democracies, of course, or our own constitutions, because you know it has taken long before we got independence. We just got independence like far before, you know. Let's say counting 50 years up to now, we are using things that were brought by our colonizers. Do you think that is that's how we should just operate?
No, actually we are not. We are already late. We were to start by making things our own things and govern ourselves without influence from other people. What we've been lacking is knowledge fortress. Okay, so in the formation of a state, they need to focus on a few things: economic fortress, then political fortress, then knowledge fortress. But African countries, they are focusing much on their politics and their economics. They are not focusing on intellectual fortress, the knowledge fortress. Each and every society is formed through intellectual ability. It is the philosophers that comes up with philosophies that run that country, then people adopt it. So you look at Africa, we have philosophers, but most of them suffer from low self-esteem, or if we have others who are sharp, like the interview that we are having,
Of course.
few people are not like, other people are likely not to listen to us because we are Africans. So that has been deteriorating the growth in Africa at large. So we need to do our things. We are late already, and we ought to start it by working on our own politics, without our own education system, actually, our own politics and our own economies, without relying on the people who are
Do you think African inferiority might be one of the causes of us lagging behind?
It's a big cause. It's a big cause of that. Because we have low self-esteem and inferiority complex, which was imposed to us. So you grow up believing that we cannot do better. So unlocking that, like Ngugi wa Thiong'o wrote a good book, Decolonization of Mind. And that is the only thing that he was speaking about, because our mind was colonized. So we need to do the decolonization of that mind for us now to start afresh without low self-esteem, with that belief. And
of course, I think that is one of the foundation of the pillars of somebody like Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. I think when he was describing someone like John Garang of Ethiopia, there's a statement that was mentioned in such a way. So, of course, when you look at Africans, of course, we just brought a very good topic, saying that maybe we feel like we are inferior. So it brings me back to my main topic of today, that Africans as enemies of our own political democracy. You know, most of us now we are celebrating the ideologies, we are celebrating the life of the Westerns. So as Africans, do you think which are the best ways that we should now we should now put in place, or we should now look which are the best ways that we should now be using to make sure that at least we curb this problem that is coming, because it's like a challenge, you know, it's coming, the Western, and of course most of the people are appreciating the Western culture, Western like everything of the Western, but now we look at where is Africa in between, you see.
Yeah, what I propose we begin with is values. In old African societies, they focused much on the values of the individuals. Individuals had respect, individuals used to work hard, they were responsible enough, and they had that unity. Then with the introduction of the European during colonization, we thought that they were more superior than us. Then our values, they washed down our values, so we start like worshipping them. So the second thing, after regaining our values, what we need to do is now to work on our mind. The problem has always been the problem of the mind. Like, I don't think that I follow a number of things from European, unless something is extremely good. I categorize my things. This is good, so I use you because it's good, not European or whatever.
But of course, at times you will of course find it difficulty to expose yourself to a large group of people, because you fear how will they say about you. You know, there are very few people who might want to stand out and be counted. You see, that's the problem. You know.
That problem is institute. Like, I used to feel that way when I was very young. But I started reading. I did not know that was going to work on my self-esteem. Nowadays, I can talk to them like I take them like every normal person, because I did my research. And IQ there is nowhere it is written that the IQ of the whites are higher than the IQ of the blacks. The IQ is average. For your information, even between men and women, it's average across. Though some research says that good nutrition makes people become more brilliant compared to other people. So, because they have better nutrition, that is the only place that they can beat us. And they are highly exposed in technology and such kind of things. But if you work on your own brain and you think and you realize that you are as good as any other human being, that self-esteem, those things are in books. It depends on the books that you read. It depends on the speeches that you listen to. It depends on how you take yourself as an individual. The individual supremacy must be uplifted, and someone must believe in themselves, because we are all unique and we are all powerful. So if we stop taking them like the superpower and we read our books like, I need to do this and this.
But of course we depend on them. We depend mostly on them. So when we say maybe, of course we shy away from maybe adopting some of their things. You see, we shall be now maybe we shall be now at a point whereby we shall now start maybe conflicts between us and them.
Let me correct one thing. Actually, we don't depend mainly on them. they make it appear as if we really depend on them. They travel here for good climate. It is our people that build those areas. There is a guy who used to be the richest from Egypt, was the richest. There is no one who ever existed that had that wealth. Like brains that build Europe and those other areas were Africans. They come here for our minerals. We don't go there for their minerals. So they are taking a lot from us and making it appear as if they are helping us because of a few manufacturing things and a few opportunities. But it is 50-50. It is not that they are helping us. We are also helping them. In fact, we are helping them more. But now they make it appear as if they are the one who are helping us. It's a game. And they are winning because they are using the African heads of states.
And that brings me to the next point. Do you think maybe African leaders, of course, presidents, they are the icons of let's say the supporters of this Western culture, because most of them, when you see an African leader who is maybe battling, maybe in conflict, or maybe not taking into contact of their ideologies, they start now having some problems with them. You've just seen the recent LGBTQ discussion. You know, most of the African leaders were seen like they were opposing the move, and it created a lot of conflict with the Western people.
Yeah, that's a big problem, because after colonization, when the European went back, they did not fully go back.
Of course.
They started having their projects, and the projects still going on. During election, they try to influence our elections so that someone who listens to them, or their puppet, that is in the office. So they use their puppet to get whatever they want. So such kind of presidents are the disgrace to this continent, because the agreement is we will fund your campaigns, we will try to protect you when you steal your own country, and we will make you appear as if you are the most elite. But under the following conditions, you will do for us this. You have to pass these policies for us to work together. So it's a mutual benefit. But if you look at people like Kwame Nkrumah, people like Julius Kabarage Nyerere, and people like Nelson Mandela, they were fighting for one thing, that freedom that let us govern ourselves as adults who are also human beings, the sovereignty of an individual. Why must you control us? But after they won the war, but the European came with what we call neo-colonization. They colonize you using your own people. So you cannot say that these people have invaded our land. They take one of you who is working exactly like a European. To surprise, they work even worse than some of the European.
And to these African presidents, of course, we are looking African presidents are people who are supporting, and that the people, I can say, they are enemies of our own political democracy. When you look at African presidents, they are now openly supporting these people. But then when you come back to them, some of them don't want to leave power because they know they have the support from the top. So which ways maybe we should just use as Africans to make sure that at least we realize that we need to maybe when after some years you have to leave power. You see, when you enter power, take for example, we just come back to our friends in Uganda. Museveni has been in power for almost 36 years, and he doesn't feel maybe offended. You see, and now we want to see democracy in Africa. So figures like these ones, what do they mean?
Yeah. Actually, that happens because of one thing. We have weak institutions. Like institutions like judiciary should be independent. You get that? Our institutions are working with the government. So that is why our laws are being passed. So this is what is expected to happen. Institutions should be strong, and they should work independently from the government. So if we have a constitution that your term limit ends here, or you cannot do this and this, the institutions should be strong and not compromised. When the institutions are weak, whoever is in charge, who is the president, and mostly because they are using powers from those who are from the European countries, they are likely to get that influence strengthen their position so that institutions work for them. So when they take any issue to the judiciary, any problem, the judiciary do whatever they want exactly. So they can extend their term limit, they can do different things. Police is compromised, everyone is compromised, and all areas is compromised. So in such kind of chaotic environment, only one thing is strong: the dictator, who is the president. He gets all power within him. But this institution should be larger than even the individual. Actually, the president, it should be the presidency. It is an institution, not an individual. So when the ruling comes out that the term limit for presidency is this, regardless of how heartless or dangerous that individual is, he must vacate, because institution is more powerful than them. But in Africa country, these individuals are larger than the institution. They have compromised the institution and they are using it for their own advantages.
Do you think maybe bringing Africa under one umbrella, as our forefathers used to say, that maybe Africa should unite, maybe can be a solution to this, maybe having presidents living, maybe staying in power for so long?
I hold the view that it can change. I think the petition of Africa was just one method to make us weak, because it will be the problem that in case of any war or in case of any conflict between African and European countries, it will not be Africa. It will be Kenya versus maybe United States or France. So Kenya is a small thing that does not have resources, cannot feed herself, cannot do anything for herself. So we become weak. But when you combine us, we become a force to reckon with.
Do you think Africa is now in Africa is in a good position to unite?
Yeah, it is in a good position to unite.
With the current states of, maybe with the its current state?
Yeah. Let me tell you what is happening. We have a number of good presidents have been brooding for the last few years. Someone like Magufuli, may his soul rest in peace. Different West African countries are having coups. That is how it started during the other time when they were chasing the Europeans. So if you follow the agendas that AU, African unions, are having, like they've started actually the talks about one currency. They want to do the process. The South African president was in Kenya about the traveling. They want to make traveling free, and the markets, they want to open the borders for free trade. Things start that way, then they merge, then the army will be there, then with the one currency, then it can unite easily.
But you know, when you look at Africa, most of the presidents have been in power for so long, and I don't think, if maybe when you say they come together, some of them, they are being used by the Western people. So maybe they'll have this notion that maybe when we unite as one continent, one country, our expressions will be limited. So they will hold the notion that we have to stay us. If Kenya, it just remains Kenya. If Uganda, it just remains Uganda, because they will want now to access more from the Western people. And of course, this would, I know one thing that maybe they shy away from, to media or anyone shies away from saying, it is that the Western people are the one, we are just being colonized. We are just being colonized, but we indirectly. I would like to take this opportunity and thank you for, of course, always making your time to be available for the discussion. And this one should not just be empty here. Like this one, African political democracy, will continue on the next episode. So make sure you tune in, make sure you subscribe, you follow, and you comment, and wait for the next episode. We know we want to change Africa to be a better place. We want to make Africa a place whereby any Africa will be happy for it. You know, we want to create an environment for the next generation. So maybe your final remarks before we close.
Africa can be made better. It is you and me to make it better. Let's change our mentality. Let's love our continent. It's a great continent. And let us have our self-esteem back, so that we can move forth and discuss matters of governance on the table with other civilizations.
Thank you make sure you follow Main Plug TV. I'm Sami Wasilwa, and this is Main Plug TV. Until the next episode,